G'day, welcome to Manfield and a big day in Kiwi motor racing with a piece of history in the making. Because here this weekend in the Manawatu, we've got the Aussie V8 Utes making their New Zealand debut. Now, Grant Boyden, these guys have been racing in Australia for a while and they're pretty much big-time crowd pleasers, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. We've been racing Utes since the year 2000 in Australia. The crowd love them because they are uniquely Australian. There's nothing more Aussie than getting in your Ute and going out and racing against your mate. And coming over here to New Zealand, well, that's like being in Australia just 20 years behind.
Sure, mate, whatever, yeah. Hey, the funny thing is that there's not too much of that Kiwi versus Aussie thing going on here. It's all a bit different, isn't it?
It is a bit strange, isn't it? We're not clawing each other's eyes out. We're not scratching at each other. But hey, look, the day's only young, so anything could happen.
Exactly. So welcome to Utopia here at Manfield. It's a neat concept, this Aussie V8 Ute International. It takes the tail-sliding, panel-banging, true blue Aussie class and transports it here to the little town of Fielding in the Manawatu. The machinery's evenly matched, half of them Fords, half Holdens. And it's the same with the driver division, between Aussies and Kiwis. Strangely enough though, this is one Trans-Tasman contest that doesn't pit Kiwi versus Aussie. Here the idea is to team up, one Aussie, one Kiwi, and have them share a ute for the weekend. First in a couple of solo races each, and then in a half-hour Enduro with a driver change. It's an idea that's won the support of all the top Aussie ute teams and drivers. And a class bunch of Kiwi ring-ins, led by V8 supercar up-and-comer Jason Richards, finding the utes an interesting challenge.
You can't rush these cars. Your patience is a virtue. Whereas a supercar, you can really attack the corners because you've got a nimble car almost sort of underneath you. Where these, if you attack the corners, you'll just slide right off. They haven't got a lot of power, so it's all about keeping the momentum going. In terms of they're very much like a road car with a few performance enhancements on them. So they're not hard to drive, but they are very hard to drive fast.
Former supercar steerer Simon Wills has also come home from Australia, but to something totally unlike his last outing here, in a single-seater.
Yeah, Formula Holden compared to a ute round here, it's definitely a different experience, but I know now when I'm driving the ute around the track, every time I get into a corner I seem to be going, yee-haw! So it's all good stuff.
Then this former World Superbike superstar Aaron Slight, who reckons he's always had utes.
Yeah, usually the utes I use got a bike tied on the back of them.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's one of the biggest things people say to you, the utes. They must be really oversteery and stuff like that. But they're quite cool, they're quite neutral, yeah.
Local Chris Pither is one Kiwi who knows all about the utes, having made his name in them over the Tasman last year. Very spectacular.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's it's a lot of close racing and they're sort of quite nervous. They're easy to make a mistake, get a bit loose or something in them, and people push and try and get past because they're so even. It's difficult and it's easy to make a mistake, and that's when you might get a bit of rubbing or something happening.
A few Kiwi V8 stars are also in the lineup, like Wade Henshaw, Brady Kennett, Nick Ross and Dean Perkins, whose Wildman nickname indicates the utes should be made for him.
Oh yeah, they're a pretty oversteery sort of a machine and you can sort of throw them around, so we're looking forward to just having a great time with them.
So you're in your element?
Yeah, no, it's good to be back in something like this, that's for real.
Reese Mackay's most recent racing has been in a Porsche GT3. That would have prepared you well for this?
No, totally the opposite. Yeah. Basically, the slower you seem to drive them, the faster they go. It's sort of a bit of a reversed logic there, I tell you.
Reigning champ Damien White explains the attractions of the utes.
Yeah, they are very difficult to handle, especially when you've got another one hitting you in the rear corner, sort of trying to help you around. Because we run on they're not as fast as a V8 supercar or a New Zealand tourer, but because we run on a road tyre, because they are a ute, the nature of them does lend itself to a lot of sideways action.
Among the established ute stars, there's a wide range of approaches. How serious is this Kiwi visit?
Pretty serious to me. I mean, we've got some fairly heavy players in the field, some V8 supercar boys from Australia like Jason Richards and Simon Wills. I'm out to prove a point. I want to show these guys, hey, they're in my territory now. They're in a ute. Let's play.
Yeah, you got that right. It's entertaining to watch. It's certainly not entertaining to be in it. It's big money. People are spending hundreds of thousands a year on their teams. So you've got sponsors you need to report to and make your excuses to if you're not up there. So it's pretty serious. It's certainly serious at the top.
Then there's the other style, Charlie Kovacs style.
Well, you've got to be a little bit crazy, I think. I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years. This is the 6th year coming up now. And look, you need a sense of humour. We're all very competitive, but somewhere along the line it's always got to be fun as well, doesn't it?
And you've got to have a good moustache.
Well, it gets in the way sometimes, but it's, a good moustache is always a good idea, yeah.
Kim Jane made the switch from Aussie NASCAR, where he was a repeat champ, to the Utes.
Yeah, well, they're not quite as quick, and they're not quite as heavy, and they're not quite as fast, but they're not quite as dangerous, but they're probably a lot more fun.
The common theme, though, is that despite appearances, the Utes call for subtle, gentle driving. Eh?
Really just got to caress it into the corner and be patient and definitely not overdrive it. Yeah, so, and keep it straight. I mean, everyone expects them to get sideways, but you can't. You've got to keep them straight as well.
They're really an easy car to overdrive, and I've just been spending my weekend just slowing myself down because every time I've tried to go faster lately, I've been going slower.
Something else that's common among the Uters, everybody's your mate.
Thanks, mate. Great to be here. Thanks a lot.
Bloody Kiwis, mate. I'll put the pressure on him.
Well done. Or their Kiwi equivalents.
Sweet, bro. Cheers.
And things are...
Yeah, bloody tastic.
And everyone's got a nickname, be it Hollywood, Mayhem, Chucky, Ice, or the Assassin.
Oh, look, when I started out, I'd never raced before, and I knew I was going to have to start at the rear of grid, and obviously to get to the front, I'd have to hustle, so hence the name, the Hustler.
Okay. That's pretty innocent, eh?
It is, mate. I like that version.
I've got a boring one. I'm sauce at the moment, but yeah, because of stupid amounts of tomato sauce I used to like eating, but yeah, I think there's going to be a few sort of more bleeped out ones later on. Well, if things go the way I'm planning it anyway, yeah.
Richards is relieved that his reputation's still intact come the end of qualifying. He's fastest, 4/10 quicker than James Brock and Charlie Kovacs.
I was really unsure when I was coming here going, what have I got myself into? Yeah. I'm probably going to get shown up, but look, at this stage I'm holding my own, so I'm pretty happy.
Saturday afternoon saw New Zealand's first ever V8 Ute race. In fact, the first ever outside Australia. And it found Kiwi Jason Richards on pole with another famous name, James Brock, off alongside of him. Charlie Kovacs slotted into the 3rd place, and it didn't take long for Astro Boy Harrigan there on the left to get out in the dirt and show us the Ute style. Amazingly enough, given all the hype and the lead up to the meeting, everyone got through the first few corners safely. Richards had the chosen view out front, looking back at Kovacs in the white Ute, with James Brock putting plenty of pressure on him. In behind him, Kim Jane, Michael Bristow, a local, and Damien White, another of the Ute stars. And then Brock came on through, showing Kovacs the way. Plenty of locking up further back in the field, and a few touch-ups. The first one to get turned around here, Kiwi Grant Sylvester, turned around by Nandy Kiss. Out front, though, it was all Jason Richards' way, the supercar star, showing all his class and leaving the fight to Kovacs and Brock. While they battled, Damien White was able to inch closer behind them, watching as Brock went on through. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't to last. After all his hard work, Brock started to slip back through the field with mechanical problems. His big hopes of a great team-up with Wade Henshaw, a top New Zealand touring car driver, coming to not much so far. That left the big battle for 3rd place between Kim Jane and the 27 Ute and Damien Iceman White. Jane bumped his way on by initially, but White came straight back at him to hold on to a 3rd place that he'd keep to the checkered flag. Speaking of which, Jason Richards was the man who'd see it first for this historic first Ute race in New Zealand. A killer Kiwi showed his dominance by winning by almost 2 seconds from Charlie Kovacs. Further back, it was White ahead of Jane and Kiwi Michael Bristow. But a great win for Jason Richards first up. So after race 1, it was Kiwis 1 and Holden's 1.
Well, look, last time I raced here at Manfield, I won, so it's a nice way to start. You know, we'll continue on, I guess, with Manfield tradition.
And a good start to 2006 racing as well.
Mate, it's almost rates up there with my Bathurst podium, but yeah.
Confirming the win then for Jason Richards ahead of Kovacs. White in third, the only Ford in the top 6. Then Kim Jane, Michael Bristow and Kiwi Nick Ross. Country singing, ute racing. The two might not seem immediately to fit together, but 9-time Aussie Golden Guitar Award winner Adam Brand reckons they're made for each other.
Well, mate, you just try and take a ute off a country boy and see what trouble you get into. So they're closer than you think.
Fair enough too. So it's natural, you reckon, yeah?
It is, mate. I grew up in you know, rural Victoria and Australia, and you know, I grew up driving utes. Gravel roads, doing circle work in the paddock, and I had a sponsorship deal with Ford to promote the utes in rural Australia before the racing side of things started. So it just sort of it rolled on.
Kiwis Chris Pither and Simon Wills started up front in the second of the V8 Ute races on Saturday. A good start for them, but not for this man, Simon Bairn, another Kiwi back in the pack, missing gears. And lots of pushing and shoving going on. Pither copping one from ex-leaguey Jack Elsgood, and another, and copping one himself from Marcus Sukanovic. Then it was Gary Baxter in the number 3 Super Cheap Ute coming into contact with Kiwi Wade Henshaw. Henshaw getting very, very sideways through the S's. Wills was safely ahead of all of that, but Pither led this group with the big battle going on. Matt O'Grady, the mongrel, also joining in, going down the inside of Baxter. Well, trying to anyway, didn't work that time. Further back, Simon Ben was witnessing George Hollywood Elliott at work, locking it up big time and taking himself straight off on turn 1. Good recovery, though, from Elliott, keeping the boot in it and driving through the kiddie litter to rejoin. Up front, Will's lead had evaporated, thanks to a big charge from Marcus Sukanovic, only to be shown the dirty stuff by Wills as they came down the front straight. Sukanovic wasn't to be denied, though, coming down the inside of him. Courtesy of a huge lock-up, you can't say that this man wasn't trying. Wills came straight back at him, though, to retake the lead and wouldn't be headed to the checkered flag, but a big fight did develop for third place between Kiwi Chris Pither and Australian Jack Elsgood in the number 11. These two swapping paint on the infield and going hard at it sideways, getting joined by Gary Baxter as well in the number 3, and on the left, Matt O'Grady in the number 18 and Reese Mackay in the 27 as well, really making this a full-on fight. Despite his protests of innocence later, Jack Elsgood was sin-binned anyway, given a drive-through penalty for contact with Pither. Boyd Norwood couldn't claim any contact that turned him around. He did it all on his own and kept going. But up front, Wills took the victory, tracked to the line by Marcus Sukanovic, the man they call Mayhem. So at the end of Saturday's races, it was Aussie 0, Kiwis 2. Well done, mate.
Yeah,
very
cheers.
good.
Thanks a lot.
Bloody Kiwis, mate. I put the pressure on him. I finished second. You're going to finish first. And what do you do? Bug at me. He does it. Now it's bug at me again. Yes, you talk about Kiwi rivalry. It's on for young and old in our team.
Oh, dear.
Once more in the top 6 behind that Wills win, just one Ford amongst the Holdens. Pither in third, O'Grady fourth, then Baxter and Mackay. Former Roosters and Manly Rugby League star Jack Elsgood reckons it's logical he got into ute racing.
There's a lot of aggression on a football field, and there's plenty of aggression out there in the V8 Utes. Plenty of big hits, and there's a lot of speed as well. So, yeah, I'd say that there's a fair few similarities.
The 50-50 split reverse grid for this first Sunday race sees Gary McDonald on pole with Kirk Stoneman, the Kiwi, alongside of him. Then it's Kiwi Mike Eadie on the second row with James Harrigan.
A non-regular race car driver, Aaron Slight, doing a great job with Nick Ross alongside him. Bristow and Jane round out the top 8.
Ready to go now. In fact, Kirk Stoneman on the outside of the front row, creeping just a little before the start. And now Mike Eadie gets way off to the outside of the track, trying to get around Gary McDonald, but that doesn't work.
Mandy Kiss out into the grass as well, and big problems for Harrigan. He's cleaned up half the front of the field as he gets shoved from the right-hand side of the circuit to the left. Now that's what Ute racing's all about.
Yeah, love that chain reaction stuff. Jason Richards, who we're travelling on board with, right behind Damien White, he took a bit of a hit and that put him way out wide as well.
Have a look at Michael Bristow working on Damien White, the Iceman, and the boss back in Ute racing, leads the field on this opening lap.
Kirk Stoneman as well in the second place. Of course, this 50-50 split. Oh, this is drama. From the back of the field, that means you get to see everything. Colin Dunn watching all these guys locking up in front of him.
Now that's the way to test a controlled Yokohama tyre. On board with Charlie Kovacs at the start of the race as he threads the needle. Oh, and that's how Harrigan got into all sorts of trouble. He was given a helping hand.
Check out Jason Richards' view of it. Sure, he copped a hit and right into the dirt on the side. That's how come he's sitting back there in the field.
What do you think, Jason? That doesn't happen in V8 supercar racing. Welcome to our world.
Here we go again. This is Damien White's point of view. He got a good run through that, managed to miss everybody. Well done, Iceman.
And big bonus points there too for Aaron Slight, who kept the Ute straight and managed to pick up a few spots as well. Now Richards is fighting back, and Damien White locking a break, forced onto the grass on that occasion.
Awesome scrap going on here. That's Astro Boy Harrigan in the number 40 Ute. Lots of damage on the side of that. And now White and Aaron Slight both getting right off into the dirt. Damien White must have been able to see that wall looming up. Here we go with this view of it. Check this out. He gets the squeeze from Harrigan, who in turn's copying it from Aaron Slight, and the three of them get off the side of the track.
It's a Ute sandwich. It's perfect. Speaking of which, have a look at this. Nick Ross right up behind Eadie, gives him a tap and unloads the BMW driver training instructor from New Zealand, moves forward one in the crop machine.
Richards managing to stay clear of those two. Aaron Slight tucking in right behind them, so he's recovered from that scary moment a lap or so ago.
On board with Andrew Fawcett, who can see action up in front. That's Brock. Brock up into the sand trap, and he's bombed the 22 Armour All machine.
This is not their day at all, is it now? And that's brought out the safety car as the marshals rush to get him out of the kiddie litter there. They will do that, but that's done his hopes no good whatsoever.
Well, it's been a torrid weekend so far for Brocky. His teammate, Henshaw, has been having trouble getting third gear. This man's had no problems whatsoever. Charlie Handlebars Kovacs, Jason Richards taking the battle up to him, took out yesterday's first race. Can he do it here in the first race on Sunday? We're set for the restart. The Kangaroos machine leads the field, and have a go at Handlebars Kovacs. He launches the start and gives the Sanyong machine a slap around the chops just to boot.
Question is, did he get the green flag before he made the jump?
Yes, of course he did.
That was an incredibly fast jump. Here's Jason Richards' point of view of things. He's come out the worse for wear out of that. That's George Elliott, and no, Nick Ross gone ahead of him in the crop Ute. And out front, Charlie Kovacs, Gary McDonald. In behind him, it's the Kirk Stoneman still hanging in there in the number 6, trying to fight off Kim Jane's attentions in the number 27 Ute. Now, that was a very, very controversial restart, you've got to say, and I wonder if it's going to stick. Meantime, though, he's out front ahead of this battle.
Let's take a look at the replay. Here's Handlebars Kovacs having a go down the inside. The green flag is waving. That's all he needed to wait for.
Yeah, but was it waving before he started going?
Oh, you just don't like him because he's got a Kiwi.
Here's Baxter's point of view coming down there. I don't know about that. That's still a line call. Oh, Kim Jane coming down the inside of Kirk Stoneman. Had enough of him sitting out the way and elbows his way on past. And poor old Kirk gets off in the dirt as well. And now look at Damien White way out in the dirty stuff.
Yeah, Stoneman's not out of jail yet. He says that he and Macquarie's teammate have 109 years racing experience between them.
Oh, here we go, the challenge for the lead. This is Gary McDonald trying to take back what he would reckon, I'm sure, was unfairly neatly taken from him by Charlie Kovacs as they took off on that restart. And has he done it? Well, wait for it. Wait till they get down the bottom end there. Here's Handlebar's view of things. I don't think he's going to get through. Yes, he is. McDonald goes through after all.
Well, nonetheless, it's good to see Kovacs having a good run here with Simon Wills. He had a torrid season last year, and he's been a breath of fresh air. Simon Wills, speaking of breath, problems there for the Super Cheap Autos machine. Looks like he's missed a gear, and he's allowed Nick Ross to go straight through on the inside.
Out front, no problems whatsoever for this man, though. Gary McDonald, having shrugged off that Charlie Kovacs challenge that came at the restart, is going to take this one out. Kovacs copping the pressure as he comes to the line, but he's going to hold on to second place. He'll be pretty pleased with that. Big challenge to the line from Nick Ross, but it doesn't work out for him. He ends up third. But a good win there for McDonald, bouncing back from just an 11th place yesterday.
And you can bet their mascot, Captain Kenga, will be jumping for joy.
Yeah, I thought we had it until they brought out the pace car, and I sort of was a little bit worried, and Charlie made a dive down the inside, and I'm not sure. I thought, oh no, here we go, I'm going to get smothered, but we managed to get him back and hang on to it, so I was wrapped with that.
No, the driver's briefing was quite clear. When the lights go out on the pace car, and when the green flag is waved, that's when we start racing, regardless whether it's from the back of the grid or the front of the grid. Wherever the green flag is waved, that is race time. With the Utes race in the close confines and a bit of door handle, you've only got to fart the wrong way and it might make contact.
Well, welcome to Ute racing at its best, eh? Like, I think the first race was a little bit sedate, but look, I was an amateur out there, Wayne. I missed my gear and I couldn't even find anything, and then I lost the car. I was about 50 metres behind, but good fun, and yes, it was action-packed.
Confirming the results there, the win for Gary McDonald, Charlie Kovacs coming in second, then Nick Ross third, Jason Richards salvaging fourth ahead of Kim Jane, and Aaron Slight, the only Fordster, sixth. The V8 Utes are unusual among racing machines in that they have a couple of driver pampering aids.
There's not a great deal to them. They actually still got the CD player and air conditioning still attached.
They do.
Yeah, so it makes it quite easy for us drivers.
You don't get time to use them though, eh?
Well, occasionally I'll slip in my favourite CD and go from there, but I keep getting told on the radio by my father to turn it off and concentrate.
What is the favourite CD?
Occasionally we put in a bit of Greatest Kiss, or we go to a bit of dance music. Just depends on the mood and the feel of the atmosphere.
Well, the atmosphere is building here for the second of the Sunday V8 races. Macca McAllister on pole position alongside fellow Aussie Yanis Derhams. Then it's two Kiwis, Wade Henshaw and Dean Perkins.
Then we go back to Brady Kennett, Reese Mackay, Gary Baxter and Matt O'Grady will be at the helm of the Aut Racer.
So Macca McAllister and his teammate Kirk Stoneman did pretty well out of these 50-50 split starts, and the reverse order, of course. They've got front row starts. Let's see if he can hold on to it. The pressure coming straight away down the inside from Wade Henshaw. That doesn't work. A bit of pushing going on behind. Gary Baxter involved in that on the inside, and outside of him, that's Chris Pither.
Great start by Dean Perkins, the wild man. Now pushes up the inside, looking for second. He'll move through, and Henshaw trying to follow him right behind him, the 22.
Back in the pack, Simon Will's view of things in behind Chucky Baxter's Super Cheap Ute, and coming on past him, that's Matt the Mongrel O'Grady. Well, he's got a good move on him there, forces him out wide.
Look at them all. Constantina up down into the left-hander, and that was Elliott in the 55 car that got a little bit loose and locked up a brake.
Replay of the start here from Dean Perkins' point of view, watching McAllister fighting off Derhams, and off to the left there, Wade Henshaw somewhere out there. Good run here, though, by Perkins. This is where he really makes the ground up.
And Simon Byrne giving Boyd Norwell a bit of a tap on the start as well. And Boyd is a sheep farmer, so his nickname is
Bad form, mate, bad form. The Kiwis are showing the way here, just remember that. Here's another few from back in the field. Greg Willis getting to see lots of action, including Patrick Cronin getting off the edge of the track.
Well, Cronin used to racing saloon cars and HQs, but now he's stepped up to the world of Utes. Speaking of which, a man who's taken to this like a duck to water is this man. You're on board with him, the Wild Man.
Yeah, they don't call him that for no reason. He used to be quite good at swinging a V8 around sideways around Pukekohe, his home track. Now he's trying to show the way to McAllister, and it looks like he's doing a good job. But check this out, contact. We have contact, and look at the chain reaction. Henshaw getting pretty loose there as he gets inside McAllister, and he's going to get past him even so.
It's on for young and old out there as well. Giannis Derham's in the number 7 machine, looks up the inside of the Kangaroos beast, but can't get the overtaking manoeuvre done on Kiwi Chris Pither.
So Pither getting it crossed up.
Hang it on, son, hang it on.
I love this stuff. Look at this. This is what we came to see. Now it's Derham's who's got real loose, is it? Yes. Derham's not holding on to that lead that he had initially and coming under pressure from Reece Mackay.
Well, Chucky Baxter now goes spinning straight into the back of the Kangaroos machine.
That was a gear loss for sure on the part of Chris Pither, I would say.
Yes, lost lots of gear. The bumper bars come off everything.
You're right. He's losing gear everywhere. That was a pretty dramatic moment. He's lucky to be still going. Here's the view from Simon Wills. Watch to the right. Oh, yeah, the Kanga Ute just suddenly slows, and Wills cops one as well.
Well, Simon Wills survived that one. In fact, he and Handlebars Kovacs are looking very, very strong this weekend. Speaking of strong, have a go at this battle.
Yeah, but what's wrong with Baxter now? He's got a problem. Now, remember, Jason Richards had a problem in the earlier race. Looks like the Gremlins have struck again. Oh, Simon Ben, what a wild ride. Look at this. 99 just takes about 100 spins.
He's paddock bashing in the 99 McDonald's machine. That's what it's all about. Brings it onto the circuit, and now he burns some rubber.
I don't know whether that's what it's all about. Have a look at this view. Just listen and look. Bother.
That's how all Utes should be driven.
I don't know about that. There's guys here who disagree with you, but it looked like it might have been fun for a few moments.
Well, here's the racing back at the front of the field. Perkins under pressure now. Henshaw, this is the battle for the race lead. The two going side by side, and Henshaw moves forward to take P1 in race 2 on the card.
These two, of course, are both front runners in the past in the V8 touring cars. Perkins still doing it. Wade Henshaw was the runner-up in the series last year, so they're well used to competing together.
Well, Henshaw's nickname is Henny Penny, but he's driving like no chook at the moment. He's blitzing them out in front.
3 Kiwis in the lead of this race. Simon Wills in the 3rd place, just hoping that these boys might do something silly.
Gary Baxter with a good overtaking manoeuvre on Matt O'Grady. They run side by side on the exit. Chucky has a look over the shoulder. Be careful, Matt, he's a Taekwondo expert.
Meantime, though, look who is looming up on Dean Perkins. Simon Wills now trying to put the moves on for 2nd place, and he's got it done. That made it look very, very easy.
Yeah, good power down, and it's going to pay dividends. Moves up into 2nd, and that helps the New Zealand car parts team with the final Enduro yet to come.
You have to wonder, is there something between the Holdens and the Fords, because the Holdens seem to be having a field day here at Manfield. Really like this track as Henshaw leads the way.
They're a better Ute.
Hey!
They're a better Ute.
Hey, okay, now he's showing his colours.
Yeah, why not? The IMB machine doing a good job, though. Oh, look at that, picking up some dirt. Perkins is really driving as hard as that Ute can be driven.
Will's trying to look ahead to Henshaw. That's where he wants to shrug off the Perkins challenge and just try to move on up. And, oh, George Elliott, what's going on there? No wonder they call the guy Hollywood.
Just looking for some new territory to plant some crop, perhaps.
No loss of focus out front, though, and every reason to stay that way because he has a lot of company, does Wade Henshaw, as he heads towards the checkered flag. Still got the challenge from fellow Kiwi. Simon Wills right behind him. Henshaw making up for a pretty disappointing outing so far for him, and James Brock takes this one out.
Well, they've always had the pace. Unfortunately, they haven't had the luck, but Henshaw has bounced back in the 4th race of the weekend to take the win outright.
Henshaw will be a very happy man, seeing as he is sitting out this year's V8 Touring Car Championship as well, so this is a bit of a bonus. Wade, I guess that brought a smile back to your face. Bit grim earlier in this meeting, eh?
Oh, we've been plagued with endless mechanical woes, and it's all coming right. It's a bit late in the weekend, but it's coming right now. It was good fun.
Yeah, I said to Charlie on the radio, I said, oh, you know, there's a bit of a problem with it. And he said, these things are always a problem. Just get out there and have a go. All right, no worries. Yeah, and it seemed to work fine.
So Kiwis fill the top 4 places in this one. Wade Henshaw leading home Simon Wills and Dean Perkins. Chris Pither in 4th. Then it's Matt O'Grady and Reece Mackay. It's been a weekend of Trans-Tasman togetherness, but pinch a Kiwi or an Aussie and the old Anzac rivalry soon fires up.
The Kiwis did pretty good in that race, eh?
Yeah, well, Kiwis are bloody good, aren't they? You just can't fault the Kiwis, so I got to say that. But, at least we're beating them at their own game, but we're on our own home turf. So we might have to try and reverse it and get over there and do a race.
Back at Manfield for the V8 Utes International, it's the big one of the day. Finds Kovacs and Wills on pole, Baxter and Richards alongside of them, then McDonald and Pither, and Jane Mackay in 4th.
Then we go back to White and Perkins, O'Grady and Bristow, Zekanovic and Slight, and Ross and Elliott, who have been the stars in the 55 machine.
On the next row, it's McAllister and Stoneman, beside Harrigan and Kennett. Then Derhams and Sylvester, beside Brock and Henshaw.
In the 88 car, it's Bergmuller and Eadie, Cribben and Shivers alongside, Elsgood and Farmer a long way back, and Tucker and Cronin will start in the 10 car alongside them.
Next, it's Simon Bairn and Dunn, alongside Bran and Graham Bairn. Then it's Kiss and Norwood, Willis and Fawcett.
And Jarvison and Richardson round out the field that'll take part in the 24-lap Enduro. Australia and New Zealand working together. It's like a quiet Saturday night in Baghdad. It's just not going to happen.
Exactly right. They call it the Enduro, but I mean, these guys are going to go for it sprint race mode, I'm sure of it. Colin Dunn starting well back down the order, 17th place. He's going to get a bit of action in his windscreen, I would think. And there is Chucky Baxter on the front row. They get underway. Let's see who gets the better start. Charlie Kovacs on the right in the 69 car. Their start positions dictated, of course, from their points accumulated so far this weekend. And, of course, Kovacs and Wills have done such a good job. Now they're looking for the clean sweep, and so far, so good. But, hey, she's very early days.
Well, Ute Racing, and they've made it through turn 1 unscathed. Well, wonders will never cease. Well, you didn't have to wait long, though, did we? Look at the Melbourne cheapest cars, number 27, with Jane at the helm, is being squeezed for room by the number 1 machine at the moment.
Dean Perkins, that is, and there they come into the hairpin, still in that side-by-side squeeze mode, fighting hard. Mackay has Jane has the inside running there. Just in behind him, Wade Henshaw in the Brock car. Here we go back to the start. Chucky Baxter takes a look across at Kovacs. You're sort of wondering if he's saying, hey, did he get a jump start? That's a replay of earlier.
He looked across and watched him disappear, and that's the rear view from Charlie Kovacs' car down through turn 1. Plenty of squeezing going on. Chris Pither in the Kangaroos machine given a bit of a tap. Here's how True Blue saw it all.
Yes, Colin Dunn getting a bit of a slow start in 17th there. I think he might have missed a gear in behind Dean Farmer. And here's the view from a little further back. Greg Willis starting 20th. Oh, he's got a nice clean run out there. Look at that.
Yeah, the Grove Fruit Juice boss did a great job in staying out of harm's way. Speaking of harm, have a look at this. Nick the Pygmy Ross down the inside of Dean Perkins, and now 3 wide with the Ute Racer, and they're leading on each other.
Dean Perkins getting the squeeze completely between Bristow and Ross, and he's come off the worst out of that one, that's for sure. Right in there as well, Aaron Slide in the 71, trying to come through on Perkins too. In fact, he's squeezed past him as well.
Well, what can Perkins do? He goes down the inside, and the wild man is having a wild ride.
He can take a hit, that's what he can do. Cops that one from Astro Boy Harrigan, just comes down and knocks him out of the way.
Speaking of hits, have a look at these two battling it out. The Kangaroos of Chris Pither, the Kiwi Kid, doing battle with Chucky Baxter, and look at that, the Melbourne cheapest cars of Kim Jane coming into the battle as well. It's a 5-way dice for the race lead.
It's a great race, and you wouldn't think it was a 24-lapper. They're really going at this one like it's a sprint. Charlie Kovacs doing a great job this weekend and taking the pressure. No, not anymore. Pither looks like he's had a gearbox problem again, and suddenly he's picked up by Chucky Baxter.
Well, they're running side by side down into the braking area. Pither has the inside line, though, and the super cheap machine is going to be hung out to dry. But now Kim Jane's coming to the fore. Have a go at Baxter. He's staying there, hanging in on the outside, and it's going to be an interesting dice down to the right-hander.
I love his casual attitude, just knocks across, checks it out. Yeah, I better not pull in just yet, and decides that this time he won't try to go down there. It's not going to work.
Well, he's going to have to follow Chris Pither around past the start-finish line, but problems in back play. The number 10 machine, Brendan Tucker, has put it into the grass. Fortunately, he's able to continue on.
Pither on attack again, trying down the outside of Kovacs on the front straight, down to turn 1. Not going to work there, but he'll look for the drive down the inside as they come out of there. Really keen to be pushing on because he can see in the rear vision a big fight looming up behind them, and these guys have got a little bit of a break on those 3.
There the assassin looks down the inside of Chucky Baxter, and wow, Nick Ross also getting into the battle too. The pygmy wants to go on with it. Look at this. They're banging, they're pushing each other. These guys are playing for keeps.
Yeah, a little bit of sideways action there. I think that's what we've become accustomed to, but look at the effect it's had. Kim Jane coming into play now in behind these guys as once again trying down the outside. Pither putting the moves on Kovacs, but that's not going to work from that point.
Oh, look at that. The mirror almost falling off Kovacs' car, but that's no great feat for a Ute. They only slow you down, don't they?
Exactly. Who needs those things? Here we've got Colin Dunn's perspective. Who's going off there? Can't tell.
Looks like the number 17 machine with Captain Rob Jarvis at the helm. And he's not flying high at the moment, the captain.
No, they started last and they're still about there. Look at this. Kovacs has just eked out a little bit of a gap now on Pither, who's coming under attack. First, Nick Ross in the 55. Kim Jane. What a great drive from him. This man really is reinvigorated this weekend.
Well, he's had great moments. Last year he picked up his first win, and our first of our pit stops is about to take effect. Gary Chucky Baxter comes in, and it's going to be the killer Kiwi that steps into the car. Let's see what he can do.
I saw Slide and also Dean Perkins pulling into pit lane as well. Meantime, though, these guys fighting like there is no tomorrow. Oh, look at this.
Jane gets straight up the inside of Chris Pither, moves forward one spot. As you said, he's on a charge at the moment, and he's closing in on Handlebars Kovacs. Here's the pit stops.
Yeah, this is Baxter pulling in to hand over to Jason Richards. You see the Murph sign. Yeah. They hung out as their pit stop.
Lost a bit of weight over Christmas by the looks of things.
Very skinny, mate, very skinny. Jason Richards resuming. Who knows where at the moment because it's pretty much up in the air. Those front 5 still fighting it out and not pulling into the pits yet as also Damien White gets into the race.
Yeah, he gets back behind the helm of the IMB machine. More cars now diving down into pit lane. Here comes Handlebars Kovacs. Also Kim Jane into pit lane as well. Slighty has come into the pits, and so too is Bristow.
So out the front, Chris Pither carrying on. This is to be expected. The Kangalota's team will be keen to keep their young kid, the local, out as long as they can.
Kovacs pulls up in pit lane, waiting for Simon Wills, the source, to hop back in behind the wheel of this machine. Doing so now. It's about to be strapped in. Time-consuming process.
Yes, here we go, Greg Willis, another one of the pit stoppers. The rush is on now. They've only got a 4-lap window in which to make their stops, and the pressure is now on.
Oh, this was always going to be tight, and around goes Norwood. Well, he's a cattle farmer. Let's ask the question, how do you like this for a T-bone? Watch it. Watch the right-hand side of your screen. Crunch time.
Yeah, how do you like that? The opening seconds of your race and you get nailed. Okay, so Pither carries on still, trying to eke out those extra laps and put in a bit of a charge. Coming in is Nick Ross out of the second place.
Yeah, the pygmy will hand over to Hollywood Elliott, and this man continues on. It is Chris Pither leading the way. Now, Captain Kanga, the mascot for that car, and Tucker's Tiger, they've been involved in a battle of their own this weekend. The Tiger has taken out 4 clean knockouts until the start of this race, when Captain Kanga was actually a New Zealand kickboxing champion and did some butt whipping of his own.
So Pither, this could be it. Yes, heading for the pit lane now. This guy looking to go out on a winning note here because this is his V8 Utes swan song. He's off to the Aussie V8 Development Series next year, so got some very big plans, but wants badly to win this one.
Well, if he does half as well in the Development Series as he did in Utes when he first stepped in over at Wakefield Park, he should be sensational. The Source now pushing very, very hard out on the circuit. The car, the Ute, looking very second-hand, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not too bad, though. It's only the mirrors. I mean, usually these things have got panels hanging off them. That's quite straight. There's a bit of a bump in the front, and that's all. But Wills, where's this going to end up? Here we go. He's not going to make it. Wills is going to go through in the lead. Here's McDonald just leaving pit lane. In fact, he's not even going to be second because Reece Mackay coming through in the number 27 car is going to hold down the second place.
They've done a fantastic job, Mackay and Jane. They've kept out of trouble, driven hard, and been able to pick up second spot so far, but there's still a long way to go to the checkered flag.
Yes. Oh, in fact, it's proving to be a very long way for the number 3 car. Look at this. Problems in the rear end of that. And that's going to put Richards back in the pits pretty quickly, and that's a shame because they'd had a good stop.
Well, Simon Wills kicks off. He's got a good little gap between first and second. Back there to Reece Mackay in the Kim Jane machine. Then back to Gary McDonald, who holds down third spot after taking over the controls after Chris Pither brought the car in the race lead.
Damien White in the next spot. Then I think it's Marcus Zukanovic who's taken over from Aaron Slight. There's Hollywood Elliott who's taken over from Nick Ross. Oh, there's Richards heading for pit lane.
Very disappointing. It's the first issue the team's had all weekend. They've been so strong. Unfortunately, they're heading back to the pits. Hopefully it's just a flat tyre and nothing too major.
Bit of a shame for one of the hot favourite teams coming into this event, and certainly they started it the right way. Richards qualifying on pole, fastest in qualifying, but here this is not the way they wanted it to end at all.
Yeah, look how disappointing the body language is. He makes his way back into pit lane, and they'll be throwing that tyre into one of the cans bins very quickly, I dare say.
Meantime, the fight for third hotting up. Iceman White in the number 1 Ute, really putting the pressure on McDonald at the moment, trying to see if he can find a way past and get up on that podium.
And look how evenly matched the Fords and the Holdens are. That's thanks to Alan Sheridan and Aaron Harris, who have the Kiwi-owned company Dynapack that are here making sure that all of these cars are running legal. It's exactly what they do right throughout the championship series. Damien Ice White gets a run on McDonald, and they run side by side now. Ice starting to squeeze him up the two-touch.
Yes. I was just about to say what a nice clean move that was, but yeah, then they reverted to type, and here we go again. Poof, just out of the way, bud. Just move aside, Gary. No room here for you and me, and the Iceman has cometh.
Gary McDonald will not like that. He will not be happy with Damien Ice White, but nonetheless, the guy won the championship last year and is looking to make it back-to-back as we go on board with Fawcett.
Yes, this is 2 New Zealand V8 touring car drivers. Shivers on the right, just about to get passed by the looks of it by Andrew Fawcett.
Fawcett, we've seen racing Porsche Cup in Australia quite successfully too. Now let's see what he can do. Shivers brakes. They both brake very late down into the right-hander. Whoa, nice and cleanly through.
Meantime, third place is where it's at again. Matt O'Grady, the mongrel, coming down the inside of McDonald, puts a bit of a bump on there, nothing too nasty, just enough to make enough space to fit that 18 Ute on through.
Fair bump, play on.
Yeah, exactly. That's just par for the course, eh?
Well, with a name like the mongrel, you have to be a bit forceful, don't you?
Certainly was there, so McDonald has to sit back in 5th place it is now, looking for a way back past, and sitting just behind him, James Brock, starting to make the moves on these guys too as they have their big fight ahead of him.
Well, I don't know about Matt O'Grady, but I definitely reckon McDonald's got a bit of mongrel in him at the moment. He'd be fired up, and he's going to push very hard over the last couple of laps. Some problems for Fawcett. He's slowing down.
Here comes McDonald again, putting it back on O'Grady. Definitely wants that place back, and that's pretty easy. Didn't intend to, but just slipped out a little bit wide there.
Well, O'Grady won't give up. Andrew Fawcett's about to give up, though. He's pulled off to the side of the track in the Grove Fruit Juices machine and will take no further part.
This fight still rages on the outside. We've got O'Grady. On the inside, Brock trying to get past either side of McDonald. They're looking for the sandwich play. That doesn't work at the moment. And Damien White not able to get away from these guys either.
Ignore the super cheap machine that's in the background there. It's down a lap and out of play. Well, O'Grady's lost a mountain of positions now. Have a look at Brock. He's about to turn what started as a really ordinary weekend into a winning one. He's working on the back of McDonald sideways through turn 1. Yeah.
And here's the man they call Sauce. teaming up with Handlebars Kovacs and heading for the checkered flag. This has been a great victory for these guys this weekend. What a dominant display they've made.
Well, they call him Sauce because of his love of tomato sauce, but everyone who's been involved in motorsport knows that it can be the source of divorce, but not this weekend. Handlebars Kovacs and Simon Wills take out the inaugural V8 Ute Endurance Challenge.
Second place going to go to Kim Jane and Reese Mackay. That's a great thing. And Damien White brings home the #1 Ute into third place ahead of McDonald. And James Brock in the next spot.
Kennett and Elscott are coming together out on the circuit is still going on, and it will go on after the checkered flag as well, I dare say.
Utes, you've got to love them, don't you? When you get that, even after the checkered flag's flown for the winner. Awesome.
Simon Wills takes out the win. He gets the thumbs up from the crew, and why wouldn't he? A fantastic performance by he and Handlebars Kovacs taking out the first V8 Ute Ultimate Endurance race.
Trying to do a bit of a wheelie there, it doesn't work out, but hey, the crowd loves it anyway, and that thing's almost unscathed. Just one Mirror.
Oh, this will be good. Kennett gets out, looks across at Elsgood. Don't put your arms up, mate. This guy's used to tackling Mal Meninga.
And Kennett's not a very big guy. I wouldn't go over there, Brady. Yeah, just a bit of arm waving. Well done, guys. What an awesome performance today.
Right, that's an awesome team, honestly, with Simon and myself and the car and the crew and the whole box and dice. And the crowd that turned out today are absolutely bloody fantastic, aren't they?
Fantastic, yeah. But you guys, I mean, you've just been on the roll all this weekend, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We made sure that we came out and we got to be strong from the word go and put pressure on everyone, and it seems to have worked out really well, if not better than we ever expected.
Yeah, it was a super effort on Reese's part, bring it home straight, and you know, it's been a pleasure to work with all weekend. Start off the weekend, he was faster, so I had my work cut out, and in the end, it's been great.
Mate, that was really, really tough work, which is what it's all about, and it's been a fantastic display of racing all weekend. To be the first forward home is a great job from Team IMB and the GT Radials crew. Dean Perkins did a fantastic job. He brought the car in exactly how we had planned it to be, and from there it was just a matter of make sure the pit stop was well executed, which it was, and third on that final race. I don't know where that leaves us overall for the weekend, but again, for Team IMB and GT Radials, an awesome event.
Both myself and Gary were struggling most of the weekend with the gearbox, changed second to third, and I missed it a few times myself. When I think I had a couple of good runs on Simon and missed the gear, and it just didn't happen.
The victory's confirmed then for Wills and Kovacs ahead of Mackay and Jane, with Perkins and White in third place, McDonald and Pither next, then Brock Henshaw in the O'Grady Bristow car.
Back in seventh spot, it's Elliott and Ross with a great result. Sakanovic and Slide, McAllister and Stoneman, Derhams and Sylvester, Elsgood and Farmer, and Cronin and Tucker round out the 12.
In the team points, Kovacs and Wills win quite clearly, but behind them it's quite tight between Jane Mackay, McDonald and Pither, and White and Perkins. In the individual driver standings, Wills takes it out by 1 point from Kovacs, with Zakanovic in third, Pither fourth, Jane fifth, and Damien White sixth. And when it comes to national honours, Kiwis rule, 1158 points to the Aussies 905.